All right, we're going to open up the budget workshop for the Washington County Board of County Commissioners, and we're going to start with invocation by Commissioner Hawkins and then followed by the
Well, please stand with me. Lord, we just ask you to be with this commission through this meeting. Lord, be with our constitutional officers and representatives of theirs. Lord, just guide us and lead us. Lord, just keep your hand upon this meeting. Lord, keep your hand upon this county. Lord, let us grow in the way that you see fit. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd open it up to say, meeting's been called to discuss 2017-18 budget. Any comments from all?
All right, the meeting has been called to discuss the 2017-2018 budget. I know we have several speakers out. I'm going to start with Brother Darren Wall, so he can get back and keep our power on so we can have air conditioning.
Amen. Is there a question we may run out of time?
If he's not there.
We actually don't want him to be there so we can keep power.
No, we just want to be sure that he understands the discount we get for him going first. You know what I mean? That's
Y'all are buttering me up. Well, listen, thank y'all for having me here this morning or this afternoon. As a member, a board member of the Early Learning Coalition in Northwest Florida, we had sent in a request to Washington County to contribute $5,000 to a program that can help a lot of families in this county. I have asked Susan Gates, the Assistant Director of Early Learning, if she would mind maybe joining me today to kind of go into some more of the specifics. We have some information that's a little bit more updated than the request letter that you had received, and just to kind of give you some round numbers. For fiscal period of 2016-2017 that we just completed, we served 231 children just in Washington County, and the total parents served were 153. And then also supplied dollars to a total of 7 school readiness providers. The total dollars contributed into Washington County for those families, to serve those families, was $1.5 million, almost 1.6. So that's how much money is generated, or at least brought into Washington County. For every dollar, there's a $16 match. Now, I'd love that for my 401k, but I'm not getting it. So that's one reason we're asking the commission if they would invest $5,000 for an $80,000 return to go back and to support the families here in Washington County who desperately need that. At this time, I'd like to ask Susan if she wouldn't mind coming up, maybe to answer any questions y'all may have. And actually, we'll tell you a little bit more specifically what these dollars will go towards.
Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. These dollars go directly to the private businesses or school districts who provide the school readiness services or BPK services for the families here in Washington County. So approximately $1 million go directly back into the owners who are here in Washington County so they can pay their employees, so they can spend their dollars, and so all this can keep going. But more importantly, these dollars go to help our families who are at 150% or less of the federal poverty level, who are currently employed and working 20 hours or more a week or in school full time. So in order to be qualified for this program, you have these requirements that you have to meet. They are stringently certified, qualified. You have to bring in their pay stubs or their school certificates, and we do follow-up interviews with them to make sure that they are continuing their employment or their school service that they're doing. So really, when you think about it, an employee who can rest easy and knowing that his or her children are in a safe place during the day is a better employee. And that's what we're looking for, are wonderful families that are strong families for Washington County. And we know that this is a program that helps make that possible.
Susan, what's your last name?
Gage, G-A-G-E.
with Washington County School Board taking over some of the BPK programs, does this program go to help the school system as well?
This program, the particular dollars that we're asking for are for the school readiness portion, which is the not VPK. This is the care that happens before VPK or the care that happens after VPK.
Okay.
So So in 16-17, both sites for Washington County did do school readiness, but for 17-18, they are not. They are only going to do BPK themselves. So the $5,000 that we're asking for would be going to the school readiness program, which your other 5 licensed child care centers in Washington County are continuing to do. So it really is impacting your private schools.
It's a no-brainer for me, you know, when you have that kind of match. I just want to know who y'all
Great
invest
match.
with, so we just start investing.
You really, government, yeah.
But no, I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Anybody else?
All right, thank y'all very much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Is there anybody else here that needs to speak that has time restraints? Everybody good?
Everybody's hand goes up at one time.
Can I raise my hand? Yes, sir. No. Who do you want next? Yes, Sheriff? Could it be continued here?
You really want to tackle that animal right now? You really want to tackle that animal first? I said, yeah. You got 3 members here from the city of Chipley, and they're
All right, Dan.
members of the administration.
Dan, you want?
Sure. Councilman Sasser is going to.
Okay.
I assumed we were on the agenda, so
Well, we didn't know who all was gonna show up, so we just kind of,
we are asking for the council to assist in any way possible with the recreation department for the city of Chipley. A few numbers. Basketball had 131 kids participate. Baseball, 191. Softball, 32. Soccer, 226. Out of this, now these are numbers from 2016. The softball, baseball, and t-ball, 70% had county addresses. Soccer, 84%. Basketball, 63%. We're operating on a budget for the recreation department of approximately $188,000. The revenues generated by this department are only about $30,000. Now, keep in mind these fluctuate from year to year, but about $100,000 deficit is what we always operate at. Any assistance that the county can give, you know, Miss Patty has the exact numbers on what everything cost us, and Mr. Tate can probably give you the kids' names. So we would just ask that any and all assistance you can give us, we would appreciate it.
I mean, what was the total number of kids? And you haven't combined?
580 total. I had 4. I reckon I left soccer out, and I told Dan.
Well, the problem I see with some of that is, okay, there may be one kid that played all 4 sports, you know.
Also, but this is the actual kids that signed up for individual sports. This ain't got.
Correct.
So 580 is the total number. I don't care about if the kid plays 4 sports. I need to know what plays in what.
Yes.
In what, you know, this number, that's what I need.
Well-
580 is a good number to work with.
So, like I said, it's one of those deals, the programs will continue, but we need some help.
We kind of,
500? I hate that.
we had kind of numbered 400. right?
Well, yeah, and me and Dan spoke about it before, but I think we left soccer out of the equation. And when we meet him, I had 400, but 500 is our number. And everyone's got this page. And what we discussed as a council is, or I discussed with our HR, we discussed before, that it would be to be fair to every municipality, I like to come up with a number per athlete. Instead of giving, because it's not fair for me to give y'all 10,000 and give Vernon 10,000, give Walsall 10,000, give Ebro, because they don't put on as many sports. Not saying that no one's better than anyone, but what I want to do is I want to base it off of your participation.
Exactly.
And that's the
participation rate for,
The amount of kids that touch each sport.
Yeah. And
well, all right, we appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Any help you can give.
Thank you, Mr. Satcher.
Thank you.
And what we were looking at here in the budget, you want to speak up?
oh, yeah, or if you had
What we had here listed in our budget at the moment, and again, we was going to
discuss it, but we had the number of Chipley children at 400, and we can do some adjusting, and what we wanted the board to agree on, whether we were going to assist at $25 a head or $20 a head. But I mean, our youth is important to us as it is to everybody, and we recognize that we haven't participated in some time, but rather than laying off employees, we decided to keep our staff in the past, and things are a little bit better at the moment. We want to contribute back to our youth. It's important to all of us up here.
The way we see it working is that we all submit it per sport. You know, baseball season, you send over, we have 140 kids registered. We'll get you a check cut through the clerk's office for that amount of a line item. Same way we do softball, or basketball, football, and soccer. So you have income coming in continuously through the year. And that's the same way it worked at Vernon, same way it worked at E-Rose, and it works also. And if that, does that sound fair to y'all?
Anything that you do
Yeah.
is greatly appreciated.
I'm sure we won't do something that's important to us.
The only problem with that is,
I knew that problem.
and it's just from a budgetary standpoint, if you wait until you see how many kids you got signed up, it's hard to budget for a year based on what may be.
Tell me how much cash you want to use.
And that's why I
It'd
gave
be
you
better to use it on
2016.
past records, like he's saying in 2016. And then you can at least have some amount of money that you know you've got this much that you can spread across mowing, fertilizing, whatever, rather than waiting until the middle of the year and then determining how much.
Alan, what I thought about doing was, let's just decide a good round number, and then when the kids come in, then the money's going to be spread proportionately, not necessarily a dollar figure per head.
And if the other.
You're just using that as a.
You just want to figure it based off of,
I mean, if we sit here and said we put $20,000 a line on him in there, and you find out that he's got 500 kids, and you know what I'm saying?
However, yeah.
And I mean, that's just the
So you
mechanism.
say, you're saying in March you want to give them this amount, and May you give them this amount, so on and so forth?
Well,
Or just give it to them one time?
I mean, to be proportionate, it's got to be though the number of kids anticipated, you know, and that's how we'll.
Just to help you guys out in your estimation, some of the 2017 numbers I have, but let's use basketball. In 2016, there were 131, in 2017, 126. So that's what.
It's pretty well close.
percent variance. Basketball, or baseball, 16 was 191, 17, 198. So we're talking a negligible variance there.
So if you just took this 580 number and multiplied it by 25 and said this is what we're going to give city, then we got a way to just explain ourselves to our other municipalities that we're not showing favoritism, and that's something we can't afford to do.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying use that same mechanism, but just
580, yeah, 580 is the number, then multiply it by 25 and give them a check.
they say 5 or 580.
I got 580. He said 500, but I don't know.
Yeah, for some of those, you might have, you've got it broken down, I probably should say.
The numbers he gave me equals 580.
That the numbers he's got broken down here per sport, that's who signed up for that sport, but you might have the same kids signed up for soccer as well as baseball. So that's why we lowered the number down.
Regardless, it still costs you the amount, no matter if that kid signs up for one, is it?
Correct.
That kid costs just
Each
much.
sport.
So each sport costs the same, so 580 is good enough for me.
All right, well, we're grateful for anything that you're willing to toss our way.
we just put a dollar amount out there.
So
and
you're
everything
looking
else.
at, Trey, you're looking at the number of 580 kids.
Yeah, you doing the math?
No, I'm asking. You do it 20 or 25?
25 is 14.5.
And I mean, it doesn't seem like very much.
Well, it's a help.
It's better than nothing.
Well, I agree,
But what I'm getting at is we don't want to start out where we can't afford it. We want to start out somewhere, we want to build this every year. And we're working on our tax base every year. But we got a stack full of.
I still think we can get around 30 or 35.
Okay, 35. Listen, I'm good.
Well,
I know we just put that. I mean, y'all just put that in there for.
I had 30 to start with. And
I know,
Let's start out with the 580 kids at $25 a piece.
at 14.5.
That's one municipality.
That's correct. That's why, let's go there. We can do more, we'll do more.
So if you, let's say you doubled that,
Sir?
if you said 580, and then between maybe Vernon and Walsall, they have 580.
We're,
as well.
I mean, we're looking
That's what I'm saying.
at, we're looking at what is 780 and 25? So if they're at 580, and the rest of the numbers are correct,
Nah, well, the rest of the numbers are gonna float
Not gonna
too.
be.
Walsall and Ebro is probably closer to being correct than Vernon is now that number was. I don't know, they're probably pretty close. All the numbers are probably pretty close.
That's accurate for Vernon.
Yeah, because their football season's down this year.
Give us 180 off the chip.
I don't know, but hey, that's just.
see, even at 780, we're at 19.5, that's why I was.
Well, I coached Pat at Vernon, that's my district.
Yep.
But if you take 780 kids, I mean, at the 25, we're at 19.5.
Hey, $25 would be under 25,000.
That's what I'm saying, why don't we just do like 20, and then when the kids numbers come in, then we'll have the money to do it.
Lower to 20?
20,000.
Okay.
That'll give you $500 to bump up there. Because it's at 19.5 to 780. So if it goes up, it'll give you $500.
You're talking about all counties.
All municipalities.
That's fine. I just want to be sure, is that going, that will help your budget in some way?
Hey, anything above zero.
Miss Margaret,
Yes, sir.
that help y'all?
It will.
Is there a representative for Vernon in here? I
So-
can't trust that much, gonna help you out.
So, I want to understand what we're talking about here. We were talking about Chipley having 580 kids,
What,
and we're multiplying that times $25 apiece, comes to 14.5.
Yeah.
So Chipley, we haven't approved this by any means, but our goal at this point in time is to commit to $14,500 to the city of Chipley's recreation.
yeah, and I say, instead of them having to reduce it, if their numbers last year was 580, and it sounds like it's been a consistent number, first after the budget's passed, that they can put a requisition in for their money and go ahead and cut them from last year's numbers.
I'm good with that.
And every municipality do the same,
I'm good
last
with
year's numbers.
So we
Now we would, and this ain't, I'd be very displeased if, and this will never happen with Chipley, if a municipality puts in last year's number and then does not put a rec season on that following year, that will frustrate this commission greatly.
Yeah,
And,
I agree.
but, because we definitely want to help the kids.
We do.
Any other questions? Thank you. Any help you can get? Thank you, Council.
So what we need is, so what we really need is, instead of sitting up here guessing, we need Wausau, we need Vernon, and we need to see Ebro give us some.
Ms. Margaret, how many kids y'all have this year in your baseball program?
We probably get close to 60 or better.
So I haven't had their numbers really big ones.
Well, but still, so if we put 20 with the numbers we got right now,
We'll be close.
we'll have $500. I mean, it comes from 19.5 with the numbers we have right now. We'll have $500 for a fluctuation.
I'm good.
So your figure, what are you basing this off of?
780 kids.
780 kids. Where did you pick that number up?
Add the other,
I've got 580 from Chipley, 35 from Vernon, 40 from Walsall, and 35 from Ebro.
She just told you 60, Wausau had 60.
yeah, but that's,
I understand.
it's still padding number for 20.
And that comes to 19.5.
I was wanting to be a little more specific.
Okay, hold on one second, we can fix
Not
this.
roundabout way.
We're putting 20 in the budget. And then when they get the specific numbers, we'll have the line item, and the numbers will go, and it'll be $25 a head.
Charles, I don't do business that way. In my checkbook, you know yours that way. I'm not doing it with the counties that way. I want to know specifically what they're asking.
Well, this is about,
Just
Not a roundabout way.
Todd, just leave it all around people too.
I don't
I
want to
don't
do
really
that.
care. I mean, I'm trying to get our numbers fixed. If I give her 20,000, she can adjust the budget with the decisions we make today. We'll see what the adjustments come out to be at the end of the day.
let's don't start off this way. This is the first budget workshop we're having. We know we're decided $25 per kid.
Chipley's got 500.
We'll get the hard numbers from each municipality from last year. They'll get the number back to you. You can put it, you can get it to, we agree as a commission, that's what we're gonna do. We'll get you all the hard numbers, and it's that easy.
For planning purposes, just put 20.
Yeah, and then we'll make the numbers work to last year's budget, and we're done. Is that good with you, Mr. Abbott?
Yep.
That one's
You got a
done.
question from town?
Yes, sir.
I just got out of curiosity, what is the gather sports program throughout the year? Then can you expect to get any funding from that, or is that just gonna be left for y'all to do just with what we have?
The next year, my opinion is the next year they'll get it, but not that year because we cannot budget that one.
Depends on the best. That's fine.
Yeah. If we keep it good standings, then the following year you'll be funded for that. In my opinion. I'm just,
We'll keep this up as long as we can. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. We're doing better continuously.
All right. Any further discussion on the park and recs? Let's go ahead and get with old sheriff crew.
You ain't got nobody else is easier than that guy did? You may look through the crowd.
Right out the gate.
You look through the crowd. I done took a kiss slam out of my behind. It's the Constitution. Sheriff, well, how are you doing?
Doing good.
I'll tell you.
First off, let me formally and officially say I think we're losing probably one of the finest attorneys that we've ever had. But congratulations to Mr. Jeff Goodman on his recent appointment to a newly circuit judge in our circuit.
I'm gonna leave him with you, Mr. Sheriff.
From that point further, it'd be your honor. Okay? Jeff, I'll take care of that for you, buddy. I got you.
Could have been buttered them up pretty quick.
Yeah. I asked him how.
You do got a vote in this, don't you, Jeff? You do got a vote in this, don't you?
No, they may have to come before me.
That's right, that's right.
And we got it straightened out between me and him when all I got to call him your honor. And I'm glad you said that about Jeff, but we want to tell you one thing as a board. I want to tell you one thing as a commissioner. I appreciate the job you're doing in this county.
Well, thank y'all very much. We've got a good crew and we went to work and
I'm telling you, y'all went to work.
yeah.
I ain't seen no tents going up, but I don't expect it to be too long if y'all keep doing like you do it.
There may be a few on the floor, but they're not intended yet.
We appreciate it.
That's a joke. They're not on the floor.
Yet.
They'll do what describing real quick.
Yeah.
Who's that, Sheriff?
Joe Pop.
Yeah.
Well, Sheriff, what you got for us today?
You got it before you, I guess, guys. You know, some numbers that we hadn't went public with, nobody known about. State hadn't released those numbers yet. We have to do a report, a semi-annual and an annual report. It's called a unified crime report to the state every year. Our semi-annual came in at 158 drug arrests. Those numbers count from January 1st until June 30th. That's what those numbers, that's the months that started in that. Average, that number probably averages, I've seen it less than 100 a year from our agency. Again, that's the drug arrest is what that is. Our clearance rate for the first 6 months of this year is in the upper 40 percentile. We probably 48, 49% for the first 6 months. Don't quote me on these because the state hadn't released these numbers yet, but the state average on clearance rate, clearing crimes, is probably going to be 20, I'm guessing 18 to 22% will be your state average. We're at, our numbers right now is in the upper 40%, 48, 49%, which after doing this as long as I've done it, I can tell you, I've had numbers before where we were in 35. We've always done well in our part of the country, our part of the state, both agencies. But those for a department, for an agency the size as this agency, Washington County Sheriff's Office, with the drug arrest and the clearance rate, those numbers are astounding. Those are very, very, very good numbers. So that's a result of the last 6 months. Again, January to June of what we've done there. That's the big thing we look at. And let me say this. you know, I talk about drug arrest. I talk about drug arrest because each one of you guys know my background. You know, my philosophy on public safety, my philosophy has always been, will always be, is there's so much crime that we work is related to the drug problem, not just in our area, it's nationwide. My philosophy has always been to attack the drug problem wherever we may be working, to attack that drug problem, and you're going to see your other crimes are going to reduce. They're going to go down. So when I talk, I'm not boasting. I give you those numbers because, again, I think drug arrest numbers are not a good thing, okay? But you have to have an aggressive, in my opinion, you have to have an aggressive approach on that side of things to drive the crime rate down, burglaries, thefts, so on and so forth. So I said that to say I'm not boasting with 100. I'm not bragging about 158 drug arrests in 6 months for this county. And I'll say you judge me. I should be judged on the absence of crime, not the amount of arrests that we make. That should, and that's always our goal. And that's the goal of everybody that works at our agency is to reduce crime at the county-wide level. So I just told you that to tell you. We went to work. I cannot give you numbers of what the jail population has been. I can only tell you the jail administrator that we have has been there for years and years and years. And based on, again, just he and I talking, so if you ask me to prove that part, now the other stuff I've talked about, we've got that in writing. But, you know, we've increased the jail population by about a third. I say that to say, when you run an operation now the way we're running it, it costs. And you will see that. Hopefully, we'll keep working, and we will. Those numbers, your crime rate, you want to see your crime rate go down. That's the whole goal. That is the goal. To provide the safest security environment where we all live, where we all work, and where we all play. And that's our goal, okay? But guys, it costs. I mean, it costs. You know, we have an insurance problem here. It's all our problem. It's not just my problem. It's not just your problem. You know, our medical. So we have to figure that into play. You know, when we were trying to recruit people, and it's a deal breaker a lot of times trying to recruit good personnel. So we talk about that. We talk about, you know, pay them as much as we possibly can pay somebody, compensate somebody to work here. So again, like I said, I think you've seen what we've been able to do in the last 6 months. That will continue as long as I'm running the show. We'll never stray from being aggressive and being consistent at being aggressive in what we're trying to do.
So we're looking at a budget increase of 111 and then 42, is that correct?
It's, yeah,
5.94%.
Yeah, but I thought it was hard numbers though, so you're looking at around
235,860.
additional?
5.94%.
Right there on the first page. 235,860.13.
Trey, that's 5.94%.
I got you, I see it now. I just had this new sheet handed to me today.
If you'll look at they got a payroll budget increase breakdown that's got your personnel retirement increase
Yeah,
on it, and all that breaks it down a little further for you.
I got you, okay, so the
Okay.
111 just the pay,
It's
the
just for
classification.
36 employees.
Yeah,
That's the ones that's not in the circle.
That's correct.
And then you have a potential increase across the board.
It's not in the figures.
I understand
Yes.
that. It's not in the actual figures.
Yes, sir.
there's no pay raises for employees other than the ones that get them into the
salary study.
salary study.
That's correct.
And that's an obligation we made as a board to get everyone in the salary study.
As quick as we could.
Exactly.
Yep. I agree wholeheartedly. I would like to, and I have several questions in here, and it's not anything that I want to bring out in this meeting. If I could have 30 minutes or less with the two of y'all, I have a lot of them. I have several questions. And and some of it is like our internal stuff, like, I don't understand why our E911 is getting money from the general revenue from us, and then in the same breath they're giving to dispatch. I'd rather leave E911 out of it and give to dispatch ourselves, to you.
Right.
Some of our internal stuff, the way that, and I just had some questions about some other funds that I don't want you to come out in here, that I just need to have a good understanding about, and that hasn't been present in the past. I just had
So
some.
one of the things to look at on that E911 grants, a lot of times those are applied for through the 911 office, but it'll be for the 911 equipment within the sheriff's office.
Yeah, I know some others.
You'll see that it's a transfer
Yeah.
that way, but it's just because they receive the funding through the state grants on behalf of the sheriff's department.
And that money can
I'm
only
just
be
saying
appropriated
that's-
for that reason.
Right, and that's just something.
It's something that can be used for it.
Right.
Only if
It's
it's grants.
limited.
Only if it's grants, but it's
Very
applied for in a different manner. It's not the same
I'm sure
line
Sheriff
item.
will have mine
It's,
sitting out
it's, the E911 is fully funded by the normal circumstances, fully funded by the tax, the phone tax.
Well, and that's going down.
And it can be used mostly.
Yeah, but and that's going down. The less
Yeah,
landlines,
absolutely.
less landlines you have, that number's going down. And they're hoping that that our legislators are going to change the funding structure of that.
To keep it going.
And I'm sure they will,
Yeah.
because cell phones is so hard to, there's prepaid, there's so many variances to that, and they will. But this year, we're just going to take it with Jim.
But if I could just have 30 minutes to, she can probably answer all my questions if you'll give me approval to sit down and go over my questions, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
As soon as you get empty, cell.
Don't have to be empty.
Maybe
The first empty cell. The first empty cell.
I've made it to this point in my life, I've never had a cell door closed.
Well, don't go question Sheriff about that budget, you probably won't.
Good. I don't have any questions.
I'm good too. Thank you.
Once we get all this digested, I don't see any problems with any of your budget submitted. I just have questions about sometimes how we're going about it in our own system. I don't think that affects you directly. But I do have some questions about some of the pockets of money, like, I know some of it is different pots of money that's actually used for something that you get in a seizure and, confiscation or property, and I know that typically it can only be used for certain things, and out of them certain things that it can be used for, we prefer to use it for these things. I just want to make sure that I have a good understanding of it, because with this being running through our books, we're actually responsible. I just want to understand, just have a little clarification and understanding. That's all I'm on.
Look like a good budget, Sheriff.
Sorry?
It looks like a good budget.
It does.
And our relationship with Babu is always the same way. I mean, for years, his budget stayed the same, and the bulk of your increase right there, with the exception of like one additional position, is all things that the board and the sheriff agreed with. All we're doing now is
Committed
fulfilling
to.
our commitments. So it's a good budget.
That pay study really helped us tremendously, knowing where the people should be to start with and where they should finish. And our goal is, before we give anybody else a raise, we want to get all these people in that slot. I call it a slot, from the beginning to the end. I mean, I want everybody to be in that slot before we do anything. And you brought that to us.
I know from meeting with other county commissioners across the state, their relationship with the sheriff isn't nothing like we had.
No, I hear it too.
We ain't had to go to the governor yet.
Yeah, I hear the problems, and my response is, we don't have them. We just don't have the problems. And I'm appreciative. I'm appreciative of that. And I know y'all are too. That's what it should be.
Yeah. If we got it, there's no better place to spend it.
Yeah. All right, glad to hear Washington.
Everybody good? Thank you, Sheriff.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Carroll? Where you go?
I've already got in trouble one time voting for precincts out.
You and this lady's gonna close.
Do you hear me?
I mean,
I've already got in trouble one time when I voted precincts out, because they don't leave. You got me?
3 in 1 district. 3 in 1, and this happens to be my district.
I don't think my part's gonna take very long, but I do want you to be mindful that I can't sit or stand very long. I'm still on part-time medical leave, so I'll
Glad
answer
to
your.
see you, though.
I can.
I'm glad, yeah, I've seen you up and about, that's good.
And you know what, my recovery is 2 years, so I'm doing extremely well to
Wow,
be
2
up
years.
and at it this quick. I'm thankful to the Lord for the healing that I'm
Good.
receiving.
We're like your granny.
I look like one. I actually brought this for other purposes, but.
It's got
We'll see
four,
how-
four chairs on it, I say.
See how
Does it have a
does.
trigger on the chair? Can you see
That's
from back there?
right.
Sheriff,
I should
we
have
give-
this checked at the door.
We give you this wink, you get her.
All right. Where we at, Miss Carol? What you want?
Well, I think it's pretty cut and dry. The increase comes from the change of equipment that we need to move forward with. And as I explained to y'all, and the budget that you have from me shows the $24,077 is a one-time fee of transitioning our software from Unity to Electionware. And we're going to need to do that regardless of what we do. But that is not a recurring fee. Part of the licensing will be recurring, but that $24,000 will not be a recurring fee. The $47,215 will be an annual recurring fee. And that's if we leave these figures, or if we leave all of the precincts open that are currently open. If we go back at some point and want to discuss that, and we do have the breakdown, and I do hope that the board will allow me to come back and talk to you about that at some point, because we have one of our polling places that happens to be in Mr. Drummond's district. Let me clear something up from that meeting I wasn't here for, because I watched it and it was pretty nasty.
It was.
Let's keep in mind.
Yeah, I'll tell you how nasty it was.
Let's keep in mind, for the public and for you all, remember the fact that District 5's line goes up and goes straight up. So that's why it all happened to be in District 5. Those should be in 3 different districts had those district lines been drawn the way I feel personally they should have been. And I was on that committee that drew those lines and got off because we couldn't decide to draw them the way I felt they should have been drawn, into squares, not into one line running straight up Highway 77. But anyway, it wasn't personal. Trey and I reviewed that.
Whoa,
Neither of
Trey and I
us even,
No, we didn't
we simply were discussing numbers,
Exactly.
not what
It was based
district
off
they
different
fell in.
numbers, but,
But one of those precincts alone cost us this past election $7 per vote cast. That's ridiculous. We've got to close some of those precincts. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. This is our budget presented as it would be if we keep all 16 of our voting precincts open and move forward with required software changes and updating to the equipment so that we'll be loading in results like the rest of the state's doing. Not, we're going to get on a horse and buggy.
you should just get cheaper horses.
I'll let you talk before. They're not extremely well paid as it is, but they're thankful for what they do get.
Old days.
That's your mom
She
usually
used
pretty
to do
consistent.
it. She used to do it. She-
Actually, she and a group of retired nurses from the nursing home, there were several of them that used to do it.
Anybody have any questions for Miss Carol?
No, I'm good. We're just not closing anything down.
Not at this time, but I do think that it's worth going back for discussion. I do have those numbers, like I said, and one precinct alone, $7.14 per vote cast without polling
That's
place.
something we do.
Yeah, we do.
Round
We do.
three was-
We do, and there's a lot of things that we have to take into account. If we close, there's another one that was next in line. If we close it, where will you move those people? That becomes an issue. It's Hinton Crossroads Fire Station. If we combine those two, that's a lot of people to put into one of those facilities. Same way here at Chipley, we have 2 that are very close to the Ag Center and the Armory, but if we combine those, there's not adequate parking. So it just, there's a lot of things to take into account.
I'm like, Trey, y'all want to discuss it, I want y'all to have a private meeting.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Not just for that.
Then they'll do
And
that.
we'll let Mr. Dorner sit on that and make sure he don't take all of this. And when we look at those numbers, they're not all out of the district, Mr. Dorner, the new dollar figures are not, so. But there's no things we have to take into account, since there may be more than one in your district.
The only thing I wish we could still at some point have in the southern end of the county, early vote. And that, I hate to keep bringing that up, but I still hear people wondering, asking why we can't have that. I've always heard it's a matter of money.
Yeah. I do, I get that question asked me a ton down in District 3.
And you just, again, you have to look at the per vote ballot cast. How many would it increase versus those that are already coming into Chipley and voting early versus those who are already taking advantage of voting by mail? Would that number be increased enough to make it worthwhile? If you're talking about, it's doubtful.
I know we got
We've
one of
talked
the
some other-
longest early votings.
We do, and we do, for that reason, being one single site, we run it as long as we possibly can. If the state says you can do it 8 to 12 days, we almost always opt for the full 12 days, and that's a choice that I make, trying to give everybody every opportunity possible for them to be able to come in. And in that time, usually they've come to a doctor appointment, they've come to Walmart, they've come to Chipley for some reason, to tax collector's office, property appraiser, whatever. In those 2 weeks that they have to come by the office if they need to vote, and we're here on Saturday and Sunday. So if
It wouldn't be no additional equipment to buy.
there would be,
Why would
and the
have to
reason
be?
for that being is because early voting equipment has to be tested and sealed and shut down. So that equipment's locked down for early voting. We don't use that same equipment on election day. So that's like adding another.
Being that we don't have to have the quick response, we couldn't use one of our old pieces of equipment.
That's leased. That's leased equipment. So that leased equipment will be going back if we go forward with this. But
If we shut down 3 precincts, this number right here, you'd have 3. If we use these numbers and we shut down 2 or 1 precinct, you'd have 1 piece of equipment that's available with all these numbers in it, correct?
Yeah, and if you
But you also
shorten
have,
your
and that's
length.
not what we're here to talk about today, and I knew it was gonna go down that path. I don't have figures and that for us to start having this discussion. So if we're gonna talk about that, I don't think today is the day for us to do that.
I'm just saying, when I get questioned, I don't have an answer. I've
But
always been told it's money.
Today's a budget workshop.
In 2013, your actual budget in 2013 was like $225,000. Right now, the budget you're proposing to us is $470,000.
That's because some of that line was under the board, not all of it was under mine. Equipment was under the boards at one time.
In 13-14 is when we had the big jump to get the new equipment, or to lease the new equipment.
Right.
Now, of course, we'll get the new equipment again. But that's just,
And it's
I don't know, I don't have an
actually
answer, because I said, well, I don't know. Our budget's steadily going up, but I can't say why we can't have it.
And
I'm just asking you a
everybody's,
question.
almost everybody's budget is increasing. It's not a huge increase, but it is increasing.
5% is
But as a
different
penalty
than
for me-
108%.
As a penalty for me not doing it in the past, you all have cut $25,000 and $30,000 out of my budget. As a penalty for that, I met my staff in the hallway and told me if I would open it as you requested, it would be put back.
I don't even
And I
know
run,
what you're referring to.
that running my office is under my operation, and the voters will, if they're not happy with it, they'll let me know that.
Now, what's
I
the
just-
past?
Yeah, I
know
mean,
you
I'm
got
just
2 members
saying,
of
it's
council
a
here.
lot of increase.
But I'm just reminding Mr. Bush, because he was present and is aware.
I'm not aware of a lot of what you're saying. But I'm just saying, if you just even look at the salary portion, it's tremendous.
He had a staff member. That's correct.
And we had another state mandated increase on salary.
We have that.
Which is
And some of those increases, when you're talking about updates to voting equipment, those are unfunded mandates, and that sort of thing is out of my control, Mr. Bush. It's unfair to the counties when they mandate it and don't fund it, but it happens.
If you look at regular salaries in 2013, actual was $29,630, and now in your budget it's $99,500. other salaries are 38.40 and now it's 30. I mean, those are significant. I wish we could
Well,
have
one came
employees
down,
to that degree.
Yeah, one of them were.
Yeah, one came down, actually. You said it's 38 and 30.
One of them is 38.40.
$3,800.
Now it's 30,000, yeah.
Other 6,000.
You got it right there. But I'm just saying, I wish we could add employees at that rate in the county staff. Where, you know, I just want to point out to everybody, when you see these increases, know that this is not this has gone on for quite a while. And I don't, you know, I'm not questioning if you're saying that's what you need. I trust that's what you need. It just seems awful.
But if you trust that's what I need, you wouldn't question me every single time I come
If the
before
sheriff
board.
came in with a
This
budget.
conversation is not going to continue, Mr. Bush. We're straying from what I'm here for, and I told Mr. Kent that was the reason that I was not coming today initially, because I knew you would be the one to start this all over again, and here we are again.
We'll hash it out in a budget workshop. That's right.
And if you want to penalize me there again for it, because I'm not doing what you're asking me to do in the early voting site, that is certainly.
That has nothing, I'm just.
That's what's
asking.
happened in the past, but I'm asking you to be fair with what's been
I don't know
requested.
how we can say we're not being fair. Your budget's increased significantly every year, more so than anybody's.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Dillard, you got anything to add to this?
Can we get that, or I reckon we get it from,
Good afternoon, everybody. The budget that you have before us is just a slight increase over what we had last year. One of the main things that I want to bring to your attention is both Matt and myself will be going up for a promotion with UF this year. We have a memorandum of understanding with the county that states that the county will honor that same promotion rate. So I will be going to an Agent 3 status, Matt will be going to an Agent 2 status. And so your county increase will only be on our county portion of the salary. UF will pick up the other portion of the salary. So that's the main thing that's different this year on our budget. I also did put in potential money for replacing the transmission in our 06 Ford truck that we have.
Was that an estimate from a mechanic?
Yeah, from Kelvin at Seaborn Automotive. I didn't put the actual estimate in, I apologize for that. but
I didn't- yeah, I just seen the
sent that
number.
Yeah. We've had that 06 Ford truck since I've been here. It's running fine, but, you know, it's got a few dips and slips, and so I wanted to be prepared just in case,
It goes
the
down.
truck, in case the truck did go out.
I'd ask you, Ms. Dillard, please let us be a part of that. You know, we have a mechanic down, Billy Gettler down at our,
Okay.
we'd love, maybe a cost savings for the county if we had it in-house.
And then one other item in operating supplies, the accident sign in the front of the building, in the front of the facility has been out of date for years and years and years. I'm sorry that I hadn't even thought of it for the past 4 years, but we need to get that replaced. I got an estimate from Graphic Designs and Signs. That should be in there in your packet to replace both sides of the sign for about $1,500. New metal is the main cause.
Can I ask a question? Have y'all ever considered a digital sign? Have you? Do you think it would be beneficial with the amount of stuff,
Yeah.
like, whether it be a NRA bank or 4-HD, or tomorrow night, I think we have a Farm Bureau dinner there.
It'd be certainly more eye-catching.
I wonder what the difference, and Trey is pretty well up on that, because they just installed one.
You can multiply that at $1,200 by multiple times, about 45,000. That's what this one in Sunny Hills is gonna be.
How much was one for an husband?
I think it was about 18, 22, something like that. They're expensive. I know a couple different people wrote $5,000 checks.
Well, that's what I was thinking in total. Like,
No. There's a couple of us wrote substantial checks for that sign.
So this would just be the,
Never mind.
static sign, stays there, yeah.
Steve Ostrowski sounded very good.
Yeah. 5,000.
Steel and all.
Yep.
No, it's high. They're high. The software for them.
I'm just saying, if there's ever a place in Washington County that is just
I agree.
wide
I
open.
agree, but
Well, I missed the banquet the other night because I drive by there and it says,
I
hey,
think we're 10.
something and nothing about the NRA.
Right.
And I don't know how.
Yeah, and
I just let
unless
it
the
slip.
renter asks us, or asks, Nikki to make sure that's put up there, that's one of the things that just doesn't get done.
I think the CRA and the city of Chipley is looking for maybe partner on a digital sign, such as something. Maybe we can utilize that in advertising against that.
I had one more question. Your line item, machinery and equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Portable sound system.
Yeah, we've been doing quite a few outdoor classes. We've got several grilling classes that we do outside. We host a district-wide tailgate grilling contest for our 4-H'ers.
How many of them are you planning to purchase?
Just one. We have one that we can use that Judy purchased with funds from.
I didn't have an issue with that, and I don't want to cut you off if you want to talk about it. I want to sit here and
No, that's
listen to you. But you have got an insert in here,
Mhm.
the cost of one of these.
Yes.
I think this is the one that you're looking at. That is about 1/5 of what's been asked for here on this line.
Okay.
No, I take that back. And then if you add the next item to it, which is another $1,200, and we're still,
Now, I usually keep about 2,000 in that line item budget just for computer usage. The county usually provides all of our computers, or has been providing all of the computers in our office. Some years, we thankfully have been rocking along with our CPUs and everything's up to date and good, but that would be, the overage would be in case we need to replace the CPU.
and then I have one more question.
Okay.
To fulfill all my questions for you. This refrigerator that you've got here, a picture of and an estimate here of the actual cost of that.
We actually already had to replace it, so you can take that out.
I'm just wondering, again, because I know, I've been in there time and time again with the different stuff, cooking, using the refrigerator, on and on and on. Know what your kitchen's like, know where everything's hidden, I know what's in the drawers. I mean, I can just kind of, I've used enough. I wonder, and I've never thought about this until I've seen what some of your questions are. If you don't need a commercial size, there's times that we, whatever function that you're putting on, you need 4 times the size of what you got. And I don't know what the happy medium is, but by any means, you wouldn't leave stuff in it. But I wonder, moving forward.
Yeah, we priced a commercial one.
You can buy 4 or 5 regular for $2,999.
Yeah, and it was quadruple the price of what we just purchased to replace it. We got it for $1,000. It was on Memorial Day sale at Lowe's, so because our refrigerator went out in June, so we had to go ahead and make that replacement.
Okay. I'm fine with your.
I would like to leave it in there though because the stove is about to go.
Listen, I don't have the first question. Don't want to take anything out.
Okay, any other questions?
I'm good.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Ms. Roundtree? I know you talk fast, so this should take me.
Just for that, I might pull on mine. No, I actually haven't had lunch, so I will be really fast. What you see is a general, regular budget. Library funds, obviously, just like many other departments, I do not know what the state has not provided estimates yet because of that special session that they had. So I'm conservatively budgeting about $30,000 less just to be on the safe side. And then, of course, there is a contingency line item for $25,000, and that would be whether or not you elect to have a branch manager 27 hours a week at Sunny Hills. That's up to you.
That was the question I had.
Yeah.
You had the contingency in there. Is that sufficient to have a branch manager?
It is. It's a branch manager's starting salary is $15.10 an hour, and that would, I think I did all the math on FICA and retirement and everything, but that would, because of course that's based on this past year's figures, so I don't know if there'll be a change. But yeah, that would adequately cover a 27-hour week position.
We took the regular part-time position we have now as a page, increase it to $27 an hour, or 27 hours as a branch manager. That $25,000 will be sufficient enough we can have that open.
Yes,
One open, the Sunny Hills Library,
yeah.
for 27 hours.
Well, here's the thing, right? Realistically, like, I can't be open 27 hours, like, the first 2 months or whatever, because you have to train a branch manager. There's a higher level of skill that needs to be, and I don't have anybody, I really think that I can move or shift currently in our organization that would not require some additional training simply because a branch manager is going to be a different kind of person than the library page. That's a different set of skills, essentially.
You may have answered this question when I was looking through your budget. Why would you put a branch manager versus just a regular page down?
A couple of reasons. One is security.
Should have karate or something?
Two is somebody in a library page is going to have somebody that would just refer to someone else if there was a situation. A branch manager will be the person that deals with the irate person.
My question is, we know the library's struggling, and I don't want to add any additional burden to the library if we're going, and Mr. Goodman stepped out, but I will refer my question to him when he gets back in about the MSBU's monies. They're wanting to maybe to offset some of the cost with the MSBU. So I don't want the MSBU, the Sunny Hills people think that we're taking advantage of them by putting a higher paid employee down. Is that what y'all? So I don't want that to happen. And I understand security and all that, but I don't understand the different, where a person gets paid
A
more.
branch manager would do collection development. A branch manager would do the cataloging. A branch manager would handle all of the programming. A branch manager would do an infinite amount of extra paperwork, including statistics and taking care of money that a library page doesn't ever do.
It would be difficult to, in theory, that's the way it should be. If the MSBU wants additional hours on the library, it should come out of the MSBU funding. However, that's where everything gets real cloudy, and that's where it was a problem in the past. Now it gives the appearance you're using MSBU funds
To run your library.
to fund a county employee.
Yeah, and I haven't seen anywhere, I cannot find anywhere in the state where I've seen MSBU funds used for this.
Okay.
Nowhere.
That's don't be the first.
That's where it's a lot clearer anytime, and just like we talked about before.
Well, there's nothing.
Good. Keep the county out of it. Contract straight with waste management or whoever. And that way there is no gray area between what the county isn't getting any benefit out of that MSBU other than the county residents within that.
There's no way in good faith that we could go against our library's direction on the struggling library.
Right,
And
right.
additionally add expense to it, and she already tells us, and it's not just her recommendation.
I don't think that it's a good idea to have a 27-hour-a-week branch manager down there. However, I was directed by the board to bring different options to the table, and so I submitted this budget in April per your request.
And we went through the summer advertising in every entity that we could, and you've had 4 kids.
I had 4 kids participate in summer read programs.
No, and we cannot say that we did not try every avenue other than throwing the baby out with the bathwater out the window and just putting it open full-time, 40 hours a week, and then failing miserably.
And see what would happen.
But
But I don't want, the end of the year, I don't want you to do that, and then at the end of the year, you'll be like, well, what money did I get from that? You didn't give me a value
Yeah,
for it.
I agree with that. I mean, I understand totally the rationale behind not doing it. It's just the things that I hear, if it was available in the afternoon for the kids would use it. I don't know. The kids didn't use the summer program.
What were they here during the summer?
But the number you mentioned last night, 60% of the households in that study that was done
It's based on census.
3 years ago, have 60% of the households had children under the age of 18, which I
Based on
found
census
shocking.
figures, yes.
Well, here's how many did you have, how many, you had the same summer read program created in Walsall, Vernon, and Chipley?
Yes, sir.
What was your numbers of, don't take Chipley out of the equation,
Okay.
what was your numbers in Vernon and Walsall?
I think the highest number that we had in Wausau at one program was 23, and then in one program, 23. And then we do a slightly different version. At Vernon, we do essentially like a VBS week because those children don't have transportation as much. So doing it in a week-long program as opposed to a weekly program.
What was your numbers?
We had 30 first line.
Okay. So that, if the kids from Sunny Hills are the only kids that leaves town during the whole summer, then we have an issue there. Because it shows you that
Yeah, we're doing good numbers. And I can provide you a spreadsheet of every location, everything that we did. We even saw better numbers at Country Oaks. We go all the way out to Country Oaks.
I'm not a proponent for closing anything that we have down, but I'd hate for Ms. Roundtree to use her resources in a felon establishment where she could use that same resource to better the criteria for more kids. That's what we're there for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would just like to add, I served 1,079 kids on $2,000 this summer.
And what was the budget for Sunday? Okay, hold on one second. Now, you had how many kids?
I had 1,079.
1,079.
And it cost me $2,000.
2,000.
And we did get some donations from the community as well.
And what was next year's budget for Sunny Hills?
It's,
What you
I
got
mean, like
right now?
how much it cost me to have a person down there? Around $8,000.
How much?
Around $8,000.
No brainer. It ain't fun, it ain't, but we're not here to make the fun decision, do we?
Well, I'd definitely be against closing the library.
What I've
We
heard,
wanted to stay open, but everybody says if it was open more, you'd see the usage increase.
and later in the evening is what.
Well,
what
let's change the hours that one day. But don't add 27 hours to it.
I'm not.
Or how many hours did we
I'm not
discuss?
proposing to do that.
Yeah.
But if you did it for a quarter, if you don't see the usage, fund it for a quarter. You don't see the usage, your fund is not there, it goes right back to
1 day a week.
1 day a week.
But now what's her name gonna do with that employee that she hires for that quarter?
Let's see, y'all
I can
bring
bump
up.
up a part-time person to additional hours if need be.
And don't do it as you wouldn't do it as a manager. You just do it as a, okay.
Just on a trial basis.
No, I'm fine with that, but I do not want to see her go through the trouble and time to train that branch manager in something that may not be successful. You sure?
But I mean, you hear that all the time from the residents. Well,
I pray to God it's
the
successful.
hours that it's there and, you know, this, that, if it was open.
Well, and let me
Proof's
just
in the
tell you
pudding. And if
something
it's open those hours and it's not used, well then.
on this as well, right? We've had numerous people request a Saturday in Chipley, right?
Right.
So we did a pilot project, all right? We started it last May to see whether or not we could support enough people in the building in a 4-hour time period in order to be open on Saturdays. And I was gonna figure out a way to make it work, right? So I did it for 6 months. I was very discouraged with the numbers. And then so I'm like, okay, let's extend it for an additional 6 months. I didn't use any extra funding to do it. I switched somebody's schedule and I worked the Saturdays pretty much all the time with another staff member who would cut their 4 hours somewhere else in the week. At the end of the time, like the most people I saw ever was like 17 people in that building. Okay, and like I can't justify turning on the lights for 17 people in Chipley for 4 hours. So So, you know, that's, we're not even gonna, I'm not considering a Saturday here in Chipley anymore. And you would think that that would be an optimal time, 10 to 2 on a Saturday for people to come and use the library, but we just don't see the attendance.
Everybody's too busy. I don't mind doing the quarterly thing, but at the same time, after we do the quarterly thing, if it's successful, that's great. If it's unsuccessful, we've got to come together as a board and
Well,
say,
if it's successful, then the bad part, we'll have to come and do a budget amendment.
that's fine.
But as long as we got some contingency there, we'll be fine to do that.
That's absolutely fine with me, but I do not want to fund it for you.
Would that be difficult for you to put those numbers, amend those numbers in your budget to reflect the quarter?
Not a problem.
Renee will listen to you, I promise you.
I don't think it's not that we're not listening to her. I don't think that she wants to let the words out of her mouth. I really don't. But the thing that we've got to decide, at what cost are we willing to put the taxpayers to keep the little bit of service that's being used open? I think that's the question. I mean, she doesn't want to close the thing. I mean, a librarian won't close a library. That's an oxymoron.
But I have to,
She don't want to close it, but one of the words you want her to run over her
I
mouth.
understand.
and that's what it is. I have to
I mean, it's
serve-
only.
I don't have the luxury of thinking of just one community. Just like you
Yeah, we
have to think
appreciate
about
that.
everybody.
See, I thought this was a trial period, and it hasn't gotten any better, so why aren't we gonna do another trial
We're
period?
going to try one more trial.
I mean, we will.
It's 15 people a day is what we're serving now. Right.
How many you serving at Wausau?
No.
Upwards of 300 a month,
What are you serving at Wausau or St. Hill?
upwards of 64.6 right now, as of 10 months. We've seen 646 people in 10 months.
But we have offices up here that don't serve 15 people a day, keep them.
Yeah, we mandated by law. Remember, I told you none of us look good in orange. But no, Mr. Wright, we appreciate it.
So the goal is to,
What do you want me to do? And I will amend budget as requested.
I just wanted to, what I heard the people asking for on several occasions is to keep the thing open later hours.
So what
Or
time?
afternoons, especially where the kids get off school, which is where a lot of Wausau's numbers come from.
So
But
you're
also
wanting,
is not having those numbers now because 21st century grant that just came in from the school district.
So do they just stay at the school like that? What
They
happens?
do. They, school lets out and then 3 o'clock, the program officially starts from 3 to 6. So
And then
we
they
have
bus
seen
them back?
decreased numbers in both Vernon and Wausau locations because of that grant, which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's just, you know, I'm
Fixing
already
it.
compensating for that because I want to, I mean, I have limited resources at the end of the day.
How did it, I'm sorry, Troy, how did that impact your Wausau numbers? Have you seen it yet?
It's impacted it enough that we will not be offering any afternoon programs at Wausau except for on early release days.
so what time are y'all wanting her to open the soccer? Or what time does the community want to open? Well, what time? Well,
Alan made a suggestion, I like it.
Well, okay, well, we got to let the lady know what time what our suggestion is. If they're having that after school program till 6, they're not going to go bus till 7 or 6:30.
And by that time, you're not coming by my.
So what time do you want them to,
No.
what time do you
By
want
the
them
time they get homework and supper,
No.
bath, it's time to go to bed.
to? Okay, so my question is, what time do we want to try?
I could provide you with 3 or 4 different schedules and you can decide.
Well, what would you recommend? Just throw it out there right now while we're here.
Throw it out there right now.
Like noon to 6?
I would prefer not to be later than 6 simply because it's asking a lot of an employee, especially if they're going to get up early and start the next day. We could do 12 to 6 on a Tuesday. We could do a full day on a Thursday if you would like, or maybe a partial day on a Friday. In addition to the.
Let me get this right. Wausau was a very successful afternoon program that you've had going on for years.
Mm-hmm.
The school, iReady, or whatever they call it.
It's 21st century.
21st century, whatever it may be, has eliminated your ability to run your after-school programs in a successful market that you've had for years. And now, in an unsuccessful market, for years, we're fixing to open up after-school program.
Not necessarily an after-school program,
It's
just a
not
program for
necessarily for
anybody
kids
to use
either.
it after.
How many adults do you have that use your, was your numbers successful enough in Wausau to keep it open in the afternoons for your adults?
Yes,
Okay.
and the reason why is because there's limited computer access, and then there are people that want to read, and then there are plenty of people, because of the location of Wausau, are able to log into the facility.
Renee, you blew my organ out of the water twice. Last time I remember the 106 thing I had heard. So now you listen. Okay. All right. Y'all. I want you, I appreciate how good of a steward you are with money. And I want us as a board,
She is, I wish we all, I mean,
I want us as a board to
she's
back
to be
you up.
commended.
Well, I want us as a board to back you up. But hey, if y'all figure out, if you figure out, bring some time slots back to us,
I'll be happy to.
then we'll make a decision.
For a quarter, I assume 3 months. Okay, will do. No problem, thank you.
And then we'll have to let Wausau, Sunny Hills know that, listen, this is it, this is trial basis, 3 months, y'all don't use it, y'all.